Call the meeting to order. It's 6:01. Open with a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, Shannon Sturgis, Walter Goss, Rachel Boyden. Did I get it right?
Yep.
And Dave Griffith.
Hold on.
Subdivision amendment. Who's here to talk about that?
Yeah, if the applicant wants to come ahead and just press the button to turn on the green light.
Well, I'm Stuart Davis with Davis Land Surveying here representing Mr. Fish, who owns that property on 52 in Stone Brook Drive. And his neighbor who owns the property at 60 Stone Brook Drive. What happened, Mr. Fish put up a garage on his lot. His garage was too close to the property line. And he extended into the setback. So what we done, with the permission between the two neighbors, we paid 560 square feet here. That's going to get conveyed to lot 12 for lot 11. And then lot 11 is going to convey another 560 square feet to Mr. Fish. The only thing that's really going to change is lot 11 is going to get, you've got 223.71 feet versus the 200 you originally had. And that reduces the fish lot down to 176, but more than 100 feet required. So the lot size itself is staying the same. The only thing we're doing is swapping 500 square feet from one lot to the other. And that'll put his garage back in performance and meeting the setback. So it's kind of a de minimis change. The square footage is going to stay on each lot, and the difference in the two triangles.
The last page of the blue packet will give you a better view of this.
Yeah, in your packet, we included both deeds for each lot, the tax map. The application for a site development review, which a lot of that didn't apply to this, but we filled out the best we could. But in the back is a copy of the original subdivision plan, as well as a copy of this plan right there.
The garage was too close to the. What was the problem there?
Yeah, so the garage was built, the homeowner had mistaken a pin in the back to be his, and it was instead his neighbor's, and more in the center of the property next door. So essentially he built the garage, I think, a foot over the property line. So they have to, exchange the land to make sure that he comes into compliance with the
Yeah.
setback.
Neighbor was gonna sell their house. In the process of selling their house, they had a company out of Kennebunkport come up and do a mortgage loan inspection on it, and they're the ones that discovered that the garage could
Okay.
meet the setbacks.
All right.
That's how this all kind of came about.
Any questions on that? We can go through the application real quick. So questions 1 through 5. Questions on that? No. Questions 6 through 9.
List of abutters is attached near the end of the packet. No, town sewer.
Questions 20 through 23.
As you can see, a lot of this didn't apply.
No, that's why it's going so quick. Any questions 24 to the end? Okay, can I have a motion to accept the application?
I'll propose a motion to accept the application as presented to the planning board.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Let's vote. Right. Moving right along, Ryan has done a nice job of. Where is it, Ryan? Did you include it?
What are you
said
looking
it
for?
needs- I'm looking for the,
You're looking for the finding of facts.
finding of facts.
Yeah, draft finding of facts are not in your packet. I can pull it up if you'd like for me to on the screen.
Yeah, I was looking at it at home, but I didn't see it here.
That might take a minute though.
Certainly appreciate you guys meeting tonight. You already had your meeting for the month.
No problem.
Yeah. Cause yeah, when this whole thing came about, they were gonna close that Friday. They called me like on that weekend and then that Friday was gonna be a closing on this.
That was a
All this
bummer, I
came
bet.
about. So by you guys, we getting our stuff together, you guys, well, this is gonna help them
Move it along.
move along a little bit. And Ryan's been great to work with and very accommodating,
Yes, he is.
made the process very, very simple.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so finding of facts, conclusions of law, pretty simple for this one. Let's see.
Like I said, I need your help, Ryan, because I can't read that.
All right. So, this is just a draft, but essentially what we have is, project description amending the boundary lines between lots 11 and 12 of Maury Farm Estates. Property owners, the zoning's highway commercial. Map 4, lot 21-15 and 21-16. Existing uses are single-family residence on each parcel. No change in proposed use. On March 11th, we mailed the butter notifications as required in the ordinance, and then today you'll vote to approve or deny the application. So that's the findings of fact. Now the conclusions of law. This is pursuant to section 200-3.9 of our code of ordinances. But I'm just gonna glance through these because most of these do not apply to this one. But aesthetic, cultural, and natural values. So essentially this is saying that no significant wildlife is going to be encroached upon, etc. Conformity of local ordinances and plans. So this does conform with our ordinances. One important note is the change you guys made to the road frontage requirement a year ago helped this. A year ago, you needed 200 feet of road frontage in this zone. Now you only need 100, which kind of allowed the road frontage to be conveyed. Erosion, there's no erosion for this project. Financial burden, no financial burden on the town. Financial and technical ability is all fine. Flood areas, there are none for this parcel. Freshwater wetlands, same thing. Groundwater, no impact. Solid waste, no impact. Water supply, no impact. And the neighborhood compatibility, there's nothing on this that changes compatibility with the neighborhood. Pollution, no pollution. River, stream, or brook, so there's nothing impacted here. Sewage disposal, they're already on designed septics, so again, nothing changes there. Stormwater, nothing changes there. And then we have our last three: sufficiency of water, traffic, fire protection. Again, all does not change. I did not see any waivers that were needed with this project. Everything conforms our ordinances, and then any conditions of approval. I don't see any conditions to put on this. So I guess that would just be, this is just a draft again, but I can fill in with whatever motion you make, a motion to approve or deny. And then Walter, I can get it over to you in the next few days to sign.
So I guess the next step would be a motion to approve the finding of facts and the,
Yeah, it would be a motion to approve the amendment.
I'll present a motion to approve the amendment as presented to the planning board today.
I'll second.
all those in favor? Vote.
That's it.
Much. Brought some plans you can sign, hopefully.
Yes. I believe only the chair has to sign those. If you have a plan, Walter, if you could sign it, and then they can get that filed in the registry. And then I can get you a draft, the final finding of facts, conclusion of law of the next few days. Thank you. Yeah, great. Thank you.
much, yeah. All right. Next order of business is various issues.
That's just code enforcement updates on various, which there are none tonight. That's just a template item.
Do we have someone who wanted to speak tonight? Yes, please. Get the floor. Name and all that.
Yeah, I'm Bob Clark and I own the land on 360 Pleasant Street where the cannabis shop is. And we put a foundation in years ago with the intent of building a garage. And so since then we haven't done anything with it, and I'd like to I'd like to put a duplex on that. So, but there's several places in the ordinance where there's some confusion about whether or not that would be allowed by the town of Mechanic Falls. So when we got the second shop that we have there approved just recently, I ran it by the inspectors from the state. And verbally, they said they didn't see any issues with having residences there as well. So I'm in the process of getting that in writing from them so I can bring that back to you folks. But there didn't really seem to be any reason to preclude having residences there. Historically, the industry evolved with caregivers working out of their own homes, which obviously were residences. So, I mean, that's how the whole industry was born. But I think there was some confusion when the ordinance was updated for the marijuana piece. The state didn't allow that. So they tried to mimic that in the ordinances. And I just would ask you to review that. And if there's no real reason for it and you're trying to, do something for affordable housing and increase your tax base and things like that, I'm on that team and but we just need to get the paperwork straightened out so we can proceed.
I'm gonna ask my resident expert, you see any issues with it, Ryan?
Yeah, so where this comes from, no, I don't. So essentially our ordinance states cannabis retail store cannot be located on the same parcel as any dwelling unit. And I was initially told when I got here that that is due to state statute, Office of Cannabis policy rules. And I was at a Office of Cannabis policy sort of roundtable with municipal officials in the office. And I just raised the question. I said, is this a rule? And they said, no, it's not a rule. What are you talking about? And so it's not against the state's rule for people to have dwelling units on the same parcels or attached or anything like that. So I kind of thought, I'm not quite sure why we require that. So I thought, I told Mr. Clark here, I said the best way to get change is to come to a meeting. I said, come to a council meeting, come to a planning board meeting, and we can all discuss it. But yeah, I don't see any reason why not. Per se, it's not against any state rules. It's not against the Office of Cannabis policy. It's
We have to change our ordinance.
yeah. Yeah, and I'm pulling that up right now. Right here it says adult use and medical marijuana retail operations, and I know you can't see it from there, but it essentially says a marijuana retail facility should not be located on the same property that contains residential apartments or other dwelling units, whether or not occupied. So that's a local rule. So I mean, if you see a reason to keep it, we keep it. But again, Mr. Clark's advocating that we get rid of that rule.
Going back to Church of Pizza, is that what it was?
Yeah,
Mm.
we recently updated like where you could have a dwelling on a business, residence and a business.
Yes, so that's a separate rule that we undertook there. This is specific to our marijuana ordinance. So essentially we've added to we call it marijuana section. At the state, it's called cannabis. We've added the rule that you cannot have a dwelling unit on the same parcel as a retail marijuana operation.
The inspectors were actually citing examples all over the state where it was done, like in Portland at street level, they would have a store and then they'd have levels of apartments above it. It just didn't make any sense at all.
But we don't know why. That was
They-
written into the ordinance, do we, Brian?
They had some question about access from public streets, so that was the only thing that was mentioned in the state ordinance.
Oh, okay.
Then they're saying, well, if you have a U-shaped driveway or if you have, somewhat defined access to the residence, then they were fine with it, so.
Why it's in ours, Dave, is we tried to mimic the state.
Yeah.
That's the only reason we were trying.
And the state has updated theirs since then. Is that what
Or
it
it
sounds
was
like?
never even a rule, I guess.
Yeah, there wasn't clarity around it and they haven't enforced it anywhere. In fact, the inspectors were rather surprised and didn't know what I was talking about when I asked them. They began to cite examples where it was done, throughout the state.
So my take on that is that maybe we ought to really go towards getting that changed. When you get that letter, then that would be our ammunition to go to the town council with what has been prepared and say, hey,
Okay.
Because if we're allowing Church of Pizza to make pizzas in their home, why not let him sell weed?
And it would
Yeah.
still be a separate building, is
Yeah.
that correct? You're
Yes,
just
yeah.
looking to make a duplex where the garage was gonna go.
Right, the foundation does connect to the other building, but there will be no access from one building to the other. In fact, Ryan and I were talking about fire codes and I may just throw a concrete wall up on the end of the bump out, the end of the bump out that the garage foundation attaches to. So it's, there's clearly going to be no commingling and also from a fire safety standpoint, it would be
Mhm.
resolved.
yeah, I have to agree with you. I can't see a reason why it
Yeah.
was in there. I know why we put it in there, because we thought we had to with the state.
Mhm.
That was the only reason.
Yeah, and I say this from the perspective of someone that's been here after this ordinance was made, so it very well could have changed at some point.
Sure.
But since I've been here, it has not been a rule at the state.
So are you able to provide those emails? Like email them to Ryan from the,
We've had verbal
City that-
conversations and today I said, do you have a final something you can send me, and they
Yep.
just asked me to do a plan and send it to them for review.
Okay,
So I'll do that at this.
great.
Neither inspectors which approve the facilities had ever heard of a conflict or the rule being implied in the way that town ordinance is written.
So to speed it up, I would get the ordinance changed and then we'll hold it until he gets those letters.
Yeah, we can at least bring it to planning board in our April meeting. And then I'll have a draft of other ordinance changes we discussed at our last meeting. And then we can vote on it there and we can just hold it until it goes to council. But at least we've gone through our process.
Yeah.
And then once we have everything we need, we can bring it to council
Okay.
because, you know, the council also has to approve it,
That will speed it up for you.
All right, appreciate that.
right?
Good.
On the same page?
Thank you very much.
Anything else?
Thank you.
All right, sounds good. I'm good.
So
Great.
is there any other business, Ryan? Is that it?
That's it.
Yeah,
Are we meeting the 3rd? Is that,
April 3rd.
definite?
Yes, I believe we are to get those ordinances completed.
Okay, good.
And then I was told that a fairly large development would be ready by then. But they have 2 days to submit their materials and I haven't heard from them. So they might be pushed off to May.
Okay, so motion to adjourn? So move.
Second.
All those in favor? It's a vote. And it's